Hello YouTubers, welcome to Super Goose LLC. Today we're going to talk about different kinds of chains that you can use on your Ultra Bee. I've tried them all and I'll give you my verdict on which one I think is the best one, for me anyway, in the kind of riding I do. So first we'll start off with a stock chain. Here's the stock chain. It's an O-ring chain, and I used it for the first 200 miles or so of it. Then after that, based on some other YouTubers, I wanted to get more range, so I tried out this non-O-ring chain from MX Pro X. And lastly, I tried this out. This is an X-ring chain from Nietzsche. All right, so I'm going to tell you what I've discovered based on these three chains. First, we'll start off with the model. So the stock O-ring chain, I think, is actually a pretty good chain. It's a RFKL02 model, and if you buy that, I found it online for about 50 bucks. So Sur-Ron did a pretty good job of putting a decent chain on there. This chain, the non-O-ring chain, was over $100. I think I paid about $110, including shipping on it. I bought it off of eBay. And then the X-ring chain was about $35. I bought it on Amazon. Some other bits of information about these chains, sticking to a few hard facts before I get into some opinions, is the weight of the chains. So this chain weighs 3 pounds, this one's 2.8, and this one is 4.2 pounds. The width, this chain, the O-ring chain is 18 millimeters. The non-O-ring chain is 16 millimeters, and the X-ring chain is 19 millimeters. So, summary so far is that this chain is a little bit heavier and a little bit wider. This chain is the lightest and has the least width. Top speed. I did a top speed test with all three chains. The chain that I got the highest speed with was actually the O-ring chain, the stock chain. The second was the X-ring. So I got 58, 57, and 56. I did this multiple times, and those are the top speeds I got for those chains, all charged with my battery at 100%, all using the same road. The range, I got about, on the road, I got about 25 miles out of this one, about 25 miles out of this one, and for the first time ever, I got over 30 with this chain. I kept riding until it died with this chain because I was trying just to get it to 30. I had about 8% left, and I kept riding it, and I actually got to 35 before it completely died. I'm not really sure what to read, if that's reading too much into this. These were not really scientific tests, so I wouldn't swear that this one has more range. I can just tell you it's the first time I ever got over 30 miles an hour with any of these chains. Okay, loudness. The O-ring chain and the X-ring chain are louder than the non-O-ring chain when you're going slow speeds. They make a low grunting noise. It's not annoying at all. It's almost like a low motorcycle engine type of noise. And once they get up to speed, the pitch gets higher, but it does not in any way get too loud or annoying. On the other hand, the non-O-ring chain starts off actually making less noise than the O-ring and X-ring chain, but as you get faster, the noise gets louder and louder and louder, and it's the only chain where I felt like I needed earplugs to use. and it was very annoying. Yeah, I would, if I stayed with this chain, I would have to wear earplugs, and I did have a helmet on too, a not a very nice helmet, and it was still very loud. Maintenance, I think everybody knows about this. These are sealed chains. This one is not a sealed chain, so you're going to have to clean and grease this one a lot more often. These don't need greasing inside of them. The grease is trapped inside the seals. The seals trap the grease in, I should say. But you still need to lube them for the outside of the chain, where the chain contacts the sprocket. This comes packed. The non-O-ring chain comes packed with grease, but there's nothing to seal that grease in, and that grease is going to leak out over time. So next, let's go to stiffness. So now you'll actually get to see these chains. Here is you can see, doesn't really flow very well. It's kind of stiff. So this is the O-ring chain, right? Here is the non-O-ring chain. You'll see how flexible this chain is, which gave me high hopes that it would translate into much better performance. It's very flowy. So no resistance at all. It just flows very well. And I don't know if you can see all that grease, but it came with all this grease on it. And that grease, if you pop any of these pins out, that grease is just packed down in there. But like I said, there's nothing to hold that grease in. You can see it maybe kind of leaking out already out of those pins. But that chain is super flexible. And this chain is the X-ring chain. And I have one of these already on my Ultra B. I got a second one because I'm going to get another sprocket so I can switch out street setup and dirt setup. So kind of unpacking this, it comes with a little lube in it, which is kind of nice to have. It comes with a master link and then the chain itself. So let's open this up. And we'll see how this chain flows. And so yeah, it feels like it's a little bit better than the O-ring, but it's hard to tell. It's definitely not as flexible as the non-O-ring chain. So what I read online about this is that the non-O-ring chain is very flexible, more so than these O-ring type chains. But once these chains heat up and all that grease that's packed down in there gets heated up, then this chain becomes just as flexible as the non-O-ring chain. And so my conclusion to all of this is that I'm going with the X-ring chain. I can't handle the annoying noise of the non-O-ring chain. It's not worth it, especially since I didn't notice any increased range or top end speed out of it. And I will be selling that one on eBay soon to try to recoup some of my money. And I'm not sure that the X-ring chain is any better than the stock chain. I think the stock chain is a pretty good chain. And but you make your own call on it, and everybody has different opinions about these things. Some swear that the non-O-ring chain makes a difference. I did not notice a difference, but to each their own. Thank you. Have a good evening.